and the 4%ers will be where the focus of attention will be between that time and when that interview is done. All right, so listen on your radio, listen on YouTube. There'll be no World Cup game interfering with the transmission of the broadcast at that time. It'll just be the Prime Minister Cliff and you in the audience. So we look forward to your company when that happens from 10. It's not funny, but it's noteworthy that the Prime Minister is due to come to our studio on this day in sports, Monday, June 22, 2026, the same day that the man leading the Labour Party in the UK, Sir Keir Starmer, has given up the ghost, has walked the plank, has announced that he's stepping down as Labour leader. And of course, by virtue of stepping down as Labour leader, he's vacating the post of Prime Minister. And what is funny, at the time he announced that this morning, I saw it, I got up at 4. When I got up at 4, the Guardian had posted it 24 minutes before that. So that would have been about 3:36 a.m. our time, which would have been about 8:36 a.m. UK time. He stood outside number 10 Downing Street and announced that he was leaving. And immediately, the worst kept secret in British politics was that a man who hadn't even been sworn in as MP yet, Andy Burnham, would be the man replacing him as Prime Minister one way or the other. But you can eliminate the other because the man most likely to contest the election against Andy Burnham and give him a fright, if not really a strong fight, because Burnham has the confidence of the majority of Labour MPs. Wes Streeting announced in a tweet, the former health secretary, that he wasn't going to be joining any contest. He'll be running to support Andy Burnham, not against him. So he threw his support behind Burnham for the role of Labour Party leader and ultimately Prime Minister. And Keir Starmer's situation is worthy of being studied. Here is a thoroughly decent man. Thoroughly decent man. I've never heard anything negative said about him as a man, as an individual. And when you're growing up and you're listening to things about politics, you're reading things about politics, they tell you that the first characteristic to have is decency in politics. If you are a decent man or woman, that is one of the stepping stones to go far in life and in politics. Keir Starmer had decency in spades, and yet it never helped him. The UK have for months now been telling this thoroughly decent man, your policies are not working. You are not cutting it as Prime Minister. Your desire to remain Prime Minister is strong. It is admirable. But your skills as a Prime Minister are woefully lacking. That's what the British public was saying to Starmer and the Labour Party by extension for some time now. And how these things work. Remember, of course, in Westminster, you don't vote for a Prime Minister in the way you vote for a President under the Republican system. So the Prime Minister can't say, well, the people put me here. The people put your party there, and your party nominated you as the person to lead their caucus in the Parliament. You become Prime Minister. The thing is this, for some time, as happens in politics, while it is that the people felt that Keir Starmer, a thoroughly decent man, was unsuited to lead the country after electing his Labour Party in a big election win, Starmer perhaps believed that no, it is only my enemies who are saying the people feel this way about me. So I am going to crack on with getting things done as per our manifesto promise, of course, which he changed multiple times. He was king of the U-turn, Keir Starmer was. But the people were saying something and he didn't hear because he didn't believe that the people were really saying that. How could they say that after giving my party such a big mandate 2 years ago? You know, when he started believing that the people really were saying what the people were rumored and reported to be saying for months, those local elections recently, when his Labour Party was torpedoed all around the country, and they realized that a racist, bigoted party called Reform UK, led by a man who was the clown prince, regarded as the clown prince of British politics for so long, yeah, a qualified idiot, some people called him, Nigel Farage, that party was on the brink of taking the keys to number 10 and the keys to the UK government. That party, Reform UK, cleaned up at the local elections. And that's when Starmer started getting the message. And that's when those in the Labour Party, who had been telling him for months before that we need change at the very top because the people are not satisfied with what we're doing, that's when they said, you've been wanting evidence, empirical evidence? See the empirical evidence in the local election results right across the country. We need change. And even then, Starmer said, well, I'll fight. I'll dig in and fight. What were you fighting for? The people had already spoken through the local elections. Of course, you know, it is caveated, if you can coin the phrase that way, because people will say, look, parties in power always suffer setbacks at local elections while they're in power. So that isn't even a true reflection of how people feel about us, because at local elections, people always vote for the opposition parties to express their dissatisfaction and their displeasure with what's going on. But it was deeper than that in this UK context, and Starmer didn't see. And Andy Burnham, a man who, and success is not linear. You know, we always talk about the little boy or the little girl who has been successful in everything in life and they go right up and all the way to the top, a gilded passage to success. Burnham had tried twice before to be Labour Party leader and failed. He was a MP before, left the House of Commons to go and lead the mayoralty in Greater Manchester. That's where he was. But he was always popular within the party because people saw Keir Starmer as a robotic kind of leader, almost like somebody you make in a lab. He's so decent, so nice, but in terms of the substance of politics, the way you expect a politician to be able to connect with people, the way a politician is expected to be able to finesse situations at a certain level, he lacks that because he wasn't forged from the grassroots of politics. Yeah, he was a lawyer, DPP in the UK, thoroughly decent man, but he doesn't have the edge that the real politicians have, and it's hard to like him as a person, notwithstanding him being thoroughly decent. So there are a lot of things mixed in here. Burnham now made his name, you'll recall, during the COVID years, standing up to Boris Johnson's government in Westminster. Yeah, really saying, look, the way these things are being managed, there are many people, many communities who are being underserved, and you go to the Commons every Wednesday and you lie from the dispatch box about how you are helping Britain, how you are helping the UK, when there are people who, we have to say, have been deliberately ignored. That was Andy Burnham's shtick, and it stuck with people. And that's how he became, you know, the king of the north. They referred to him, Manchester, of course, in the north of England, yeah? And Labour Party people just saw in him a man who really gets people and who can get results for people and who have people at the heart of his politics. They saw Keir Starmer as a man who had processes at the heart of his politics, processes and procedures, and playing it by the book. Yeah, they didn't see him as having the genuine touch, the common touch that politicians the world over are known for. And so I say all of that to say, we put a lot of store in people being decent, people being someone who you can have your daughter or your son look up to and emulate. Still, Keir Starmer is that guy. There's no doubt about it. But politics requires something altogether different. There are a few gifted ones over time who marry and combine the best qualities. He had some key qualities sadly lacking from him, though he was blessed with key qualities in other areas. And so he now stands there looking at what could have been, wondering how his premiership could have been different, and being enduringly frustrated by the fact that despite getting this huge mandate, he has been incapable of delivering for the British people the change that he said he was coming in to author after 14 years of conservative blundering and dithering bad decisions, and a country that was severely damaged under successive British prime ministers on the conservative side. So here they go again, Prime Minister number 6 since July 2016 when David Cameron left office. But the part of it that strikes me is this: there is no guarantee that Andy Burnham will succeed. When Theresa May took over from David Cameron, there was optimism. When Boris Johnson took over from Theresa May, there was optimism. Liz Truss taking over from Cameron, not much, because he just felt it wasn't right. Rishi Sunak, he was a dead man walking, because he knew that he was just going to lead the Conservatives to a wipeout at the next election. And then Keir Starmer came and you felt, all right, clean slate, new party, new philosophy, new approach, thoroughly decent man, it must work. It has failed spectacularly. So they're going again, and they're picking a new leader. And some say, listen, one of the flaws of Westminster is this: remember, you don't vote directly for a prime minister. This is now the Labour Party imposing a prime minister on the UK people that they didn't vote for. It's not right. So some people say the moment Burnham comes into office, when he comes into office, he should go to a general election and ask the country for a mandate to lead. But guess what? The role of prime minister is so important. The fact of being prime minister is so special. People are not going to want to relinquish that. And so you expect and suspect that he'll continue as prime minister when he gets the job. And he won't go to a general election until the time comes where it's constitutionally due. So I'm saying UK will be going through seriously tough times from here on in, because at every blunder, Burnham will be told, the people did not give you a mandate. And so in politics we're told to change, and hope that change will elicit the improvements that we want. Britain has been changing consistently for the last 10 years and still no different result. Them say the sure side of madness is doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same result and expecting different result. Well, is reverse madness this then? Because the Brits have been changing and still getting the same results. So it's a hell of a time to be a politician. And British politics, I mean, it used to be you were told to study British politics for the way to get it right, for the way to do things properly. They're no example to anybody at this time on This Day in Sports.